Welcome, viewers. Today is July 19th, 1988. 18-year-old Adyana and her husband, Jay Dixon, live in the city of Anchorage, Alaska. They were married even though they had known each other for many years. They got married only a month ago. Jay, who lived in Alaska, was working as a placer miner. That is, he had a job looking for gold in the places where rivers pass, which are called riverbeds. If gold is found in the bank, it belongs to them. So, in his life, he was doing this job. And now Adyana has also joined him, so they are also starting to do this job as a hobby. On July 18th, 1988, the place where they went to find their gold was a place called Cook Inlet in Anchorage. This very beautiful place called Cook Inlet is so beautiful to see that the same amount of danger is hidden in it. So, the next thing that happened to those who went there when you are watching this video may make it difficult for you to breathe, because it was like that for me. The truth is always stranger than fiction. What happened to them to that extent is what we are going to decode in this video. Let's get into today's video. Every decision we make affects our life in some way. Even if there is a small mistake in the decisions we make, it may turn into a big problem. For example, a small wrong decision. How did it change their life? You know the conclusions of this case. Jay was looking for gold. He was looking for gold in a place called Cook Inlet. Jay and Adyana were planning to go there. Actually, there is a sea in the middle of their route, so they cannot cross it straight. The sea is called Cook Inlet, but in this, a shortcut is known by Jay. What is that? The sea in the middle becomes low tide at a certain time and high tide at a certain time. Okay, first, low tide and high tide are not the same. Here we say that the sea is sinking, right? Similarly, when the sea sinks there, the water there is purely reduced, and the land is known as such. This is called low tide. After that, after a certain time, this is called high tide. He had a shortcut in this. When the low tide comes, the seawater goes in the middle, and there is only a flat land below. So if you cut it from the highway, get down and cross that place. It will take less than half the time to get around. So he decides to go there soon. Now is July 17th, the day before they take the gold. He checks when the low tide will be tomorrow. Then it turns out that the low tide will be there in the morning. The next morning he gets up, takes his Jeep and goes towards the Cook Inlet. As he thought, when he was going on the highway, that particular place also comes. And yes, it was low tide then. So he gets down from the highway and starts going through the Cook Inlet. At the beginning, the access roads were good, even though they looked like mud roads. But as they were moving, the road started to become muddy. Also, there were warning boards in many places that said, "Dangerous water and mud flats." Jay and Adyana were not able to find these warning boards. They don't need to be afraid because Jay has done this many times. He has a lot of experience in this. So Adyana and her friends are enjoying the place with him. After a while, when they are going to a particular place, suddenly the Jeep they were in gets stuck in the middle. Now both of them are shocked. Okay, you go and push from behind. Adyana gets down from the Jeep and goes back. They go back and push the Jeep with their full strength. At the same time, Jay is sitting in the Jeep and pressing the accelerator. So the Jeep is now releasing from the side and moving forward. Jay, who was sitting in the Jeep, is now happy that the problem is over. But he doesn't know that the problem is going to start now. Yes, Jay is pushing the Jeep with his full strength, and Adyana's legs are stuck in the mud. Adyana is trying to take her legs out, but she can't. Jay is trying to take her legs out, but he can't. Now Jay has an idea. To find the gold, he takes the dredge he uses and puts it in the part where Adyana's leg is stuck. Now the machine is taking out all the parts around her legs. So, as he thought, in a short time, one of her legs is taken out of that part. Similarly, to take out another leg, when he starts using the machine to free the other leg, now the low tide is turning into high tide, which means the seawater is slowly coming there. Now, those who are listening may be a little scared, but they are not scared at all, because as Jay thought, the dredge is working properly. So like taking that leg out, they can take this leg out. There is more time for the high tide to come here completely. By the time the high tide comes completely, they can take both legs out and take the Jeep out and go from there. They had complete faith in it. When they started using the dredge, now they are not just afraid, they are terrified. The dredge machine that was helping them is now broken, Adyana and Jay are both panicking. Jay is trying to get the machine ready, but he is not able to do it. They see the water slowly coming towards them. Jay runs away in a hurry and takes the shovel from his jeep and digs out the dirt around Adyana's leg, but it is as hard as cement, so he is not able to dig it out. They have all the warning boards around so that no one should come here. That too, between low tide and high tide, it will be a very short time. Actually, what happens there is that as soon as the low tide comes, the ground will be like a solid surface. Then we can drive the car over it. But in a short time, it will start to change like sand. So then the car will get stuck in it. From there, the place that looks like sand will start to get thick. It is impossible to take it out. High tide comes at the exact time like a trap. Similarly, high tide is not just the amount of water. For example, if a person is stuck in that place, when high tide comes, water will come up to 30 feet above them. From what I said now, I think you can clearly understand their situation. Adyana's heart is now filled with fear. It starts to beat fast. Jay doesn't know what to do in this panic. He's trying to take the mud off her leg. But as I said before, it has become very hard like cement. He can't do anything. Adyana's leg is stuck in it. At the same time, the water has come little by little and has reached her knee. Now Jay is not doing anything alone. He decides to go and get help from someone. He starts running from there to the highway. Because the water came too much, he can't even take the jeep and go. So Jay starts running to the highway in a lot of water. Fortunately, he shows his hand to 3 people who are on bikes on the highway. He asks them to come and save his wife who is caught there. They also look there. From there to Adyana's hip, the water has come. Adyana asks for help with both her hands raised. The 2 bikers who saw this go there to help immediately, risking their lives. Another biker goes to a nearby cafe shop and informs the emergency services. The fire department and another rescue team arrive in a short time. When the rescue team goes there, the 2 bikers and Jay are trying to pull Adyana up. Now they see the water near her chest. At the same time, Adyana is screaming in fear. The rescue team sees this and immediately takes a big rubber tube and starts running there quickly. They go to Adyana and tell her not to be afraid, that nothing will happen to her, and that they will save her. They reassure her a little and give her the tube they brought, telling her she has to breathe through this because, in a little while, the water will reach her head. They give it to her. Adyana, who is at the height of fear, the rescue team comes with their equipment and sees what they can do. In a few minutes, the water is going to reach Adyana's head. The rescue team can't see Adyana. All they can see is the rubber tube near Adyana's head. She is breathing through the rubber tube. All the rescue team's efforts to bring Adyana out have failed. At one point, a helicopter comes and ties Adyana's hands and tries to lift her through the helicopter. But it also fails. Now all the rescue team members are trying their best to get to Adyana. But the water and ice are very cold, so they are unable to do anything. Finally, one of the rescuers puts his head in the water, puts his hands down, and tries to pull Adyana up. But then the tube in Adyana's mouth starts to float up. He knows that if this happens, she won't be able to breathe. Now he is trying to take it and put it back in Adyana's mouth, who is in the water. But Adyana, who is trapped in the water, is now struggling to get it right in fear. Her hands are starting to shake and she can't breathe anymore. At one point, she stops struggling to hold her breath. Finally, her nose and mouth are filled with water, and everything comes to an end. Finally, the rescue team waits on the highway for the tide to recede, because the high tide will turn into low tide in the next 6 hours. After 6 hours, Adyana's dead body will come out. In case the rescue team had informed the rescue team about Adyana earlier, they could have used a special tool to save her. But when the rescue team brought it back, the water had already reached her neck, so they couldn't do anything. My dear viewers, please be safe in such natural places. But if anything happens beyond that, we can't do anything about it. When you hear about Adyana's situation, comment below how you felt. And next, don't forget to subscribe and comment below what case you want. I will see you in another video. Thank you. Bye.